Booyah! It's time for the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. It's your host, David McKeag, alongside Alex Parr inside the ONNtv studios here in Sault Online. Alex, as you can see, we didn't get the extra long vacation time like our fellow staff members of the Game Sports Show.
Not a shot, though. Not a shot, Justin. Don't worry.
No, we got lots to talk about, though, do Alex and I, in terms of NHL free agency. We got some NBA free agency we're going to get to later on the show, and then some local roundup as well. The Game Sports Show you can follow on Instagram and Facebook at The Game Sports Show. You can also do the same for Sault Online and ONNtv. Now, Alex, let's jump right into talking about the signings. Okay, there was a total of 84 signings, re-signings. There were some trades throughout the day, especially if you're a Toronto fan. I know phones are just blowing up. Dubas pulled off some magic. Sioux native Kyle Dubas. And Artemi Panarin gets drafted by the New York Rangers, or gets signed, gets drafted. Yeah, he gets redrafted. No, he got signed by the New York Rangers, $11.64 million per season for 7 years with the New York Rangers. Now, he is getting just slightly less than Connor McDavid. Mm-hmm. Okay, he's making more than Austin Matthews, just to know a few players. Mm-hmm. Is he worth that?
At first, I thought that deal was insane. I could not believe it. I didn't think there was any way a winger just a winger in general should be making that much money. He comes in at the second highest cap hit in the league now, like you say, just behind McDavid and just in front of Matthews. Then I looked at his stats. He is really, really consistent. He started his rookie year with, I believe, 72, then he scored 79, and then upwards of 80 in the previous 2 seasons. That's consistency. That's a lot of things that teams will pay for. This contract will pay him out till he's 34, which that's kind of right when you don't want to be paying too big of money for somebody anymore. Can he produce with what's given with him in New York? I don't think he's going to have as many pieces as he had in Columbus, but I don't think by any means this is as bad as maybe one would have first thought at first glance.
He's definitely going to be the guy that everyone has their sights on. Then you have Kaapo Kakko, who got drafted there second overall this year. You've already solidified some good wing pieces there. And New York Rangers actually do have this cap space. They moving out Zuccarello last year, who obviously got signed by the Wild yesterday. So with having Panarin in there, it really solidifies the kind of the winger side for the New York Rangers. And having that presence of that scoring touch with Panarin, it's going to be nothing but beneficial, I think, to the New York Rangers. And they're going to be a very scary team come very soon. Now, Bobrovsky, Panarin's good friend, going over to the Florida Panthers. Okay, he signed in 7 years, $70 million, $10 million per season. Sergei Bobrovsky going to the Panthers. Also, the Panthers did sign Strowman and Brett Connolly in the day, so they had a very busy day yesterday. But Bobrovsky going over to Florida, with Luongo retiring, and with them moving James Reimer to the Carolina Hurricanes, you had to know this was coming. And this was something that was predicted by the Game Sports Show, by the way, earlier in the year, back in January, February. So it was the worst kept secret.
Very bad kept secret. A lot of people thought Panarin was going to follow along with his ex-teammate. That wasn't the case. This deal, it just depends on which Bobrovsky we're going to get. There are 2 of them. There's one that looks like he's never strapped on pads before in his life, and there's Bobrovsky that swept one of the history-making teams for best records last year in the playoffs. He's flip-flopped back and forth. I'd say more lately he's been probably the better goalie that we're used to when we see Bobrovsky. I don't know if I'm completely sold on him. If he has another great season this year, you know what? I'll bite my hat, I'll eat my hat, whatever that expression is. But for right now, err on the side of caution, because if you get stuck with 7 years at $10 million with a goalie that can't do it for you, you are going to be kicking yourself for a long time.
The Panthers are certainly all in, and maybe Barkov will be happy because there might be some fans in the seats now.
Oh, I can't believe he took that shot during the awards show
love it.
Either.
My goodness. Love it. Tyler Myers.
Yes,
goes to the Vancouver Canucks, 5 years, $30 million, $6 million per. Mm-hmm. To be honest, I'm a big fan of Tyler Myers. All right, I was hoping that Kyle Dubas could have potentially pulled the trigger, but given his salary cap situation, I don't even think that was a thought. Tyler Myers going to Vancouver, I actually think it's a good beneficial signing. I think he's going to solidify right on the top end. He has Alex Edler with him there. They're the highest paid D-man on Vancouver. And Tyler Myers going there, he's going to be the guy that's dependent on. And his big body presence, his block shots, his hard shot, he can be that number one defenseman that he was supposed to be when he got drafted into the league.
And that's one thing. You can't teach size. You can't teach height. That's one thing that no matter where he goes or who he's playing with, he'll always bring with him. Now, I don't think Tyler Myers panned out after his Calder-winning rookie season, which was fantastic. It just hasn't seemed to all come together quite yet. He's had a couple different changes of scenery, and he's been great. Don't get me wrong. He's been a solid top 4 defenseman. I don't know if I see him becoming a top 2 like Vancouver's definitely going to hope for, but I think $6 million is a contract you can work with. If he stays in the top 4, that's going to be a pretty average deal for a top 4 guy moving forward the next 5 to 10 years.
For sure. You know what? And if Winnipeg Jets fans don't feel that he was loyal to that organization. It sometimes comes down to business and the numbers. Tyler Myers had to move on, and even Vancouver he goes. Going to be a good opportunity for him there. Matt Duchene. Going to jump into Matt Duchene, who's actually big. He plays guitar. He loves country music.
A lot of people call him the wannabe country star, but
Yes.
I won't be that rude to him. For sure.
Especially because I can't even play guitar,
Nope.
even if I tried. So Matt Duchene had a strong year last year after getting traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets. He had 70 points in 73 games last year. He's 547 points in 727 career games, and you know what? He's getting right now $8 million per season. Okay, and with Nashville, having Subban moving out Subban and clearing out that complete cap hit, they're able to sign Matt because of that.
Yeah, Matt Duchene is going to bring a lot of help to, I think, Ryan Johansson, where I don't think
Yes.
Ryan Johansson will have to have such a heavy load on him and expect it to be this number 1 guy. Now you've got your 1A, you've got your 1B, 2 guys that can also both play the wing. So now you've got options on your power play. Do you want to split them up and have them play center? Do you want to put them together, have one winging on the other ones while he's center? I feel like that gives them a lot more options up front. And now Nashville, I always like them in the playoffs, and I usually pick them to go pretty far, but you can see how deep their forward core is getting and how deep their defense is getting. And Pekka Rinne, maybe the ageless wonder, because he's still been playing absolutely phenomenal hockey. Be sure to put Nashville deep in your brackets next year.
Definitely. Now, Nashville still has a very star-studded D-core. Now, the last player we'll get to before we go to our break, Andreas Lee re-signing with the New York Islanders. 7 years, $49 million, re-signing their captain. They didn't lose their captain this year, the Islanders. They're able to keep their captain. Pretty lofty cap hit, though.
Pretty lofty, and looking at his stats, too, he's a pretty consistent 50-ish point guy. If we're comparing this to the terrible contract of Kevin Hayes, it's pretty good. Kevin Hayes is making the same amount of money, a little bit more for a little bit less on the point sheet. But Anders Lee, I think he provides a lot more than just the points on the board. He's a guy that's been there for quite a while. I believe he's been there for 7 years since back in the lockout.
Good leader.
Great leader.
Now, you don't want to lose that leadership, so the Islanders did not lose that. Alex, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got some more NHL free agency talk. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Dave McKay alongside Alex Parr. Some more NHL free agent discussion here on the Game Sports Show, the Twin Cities' only local, regional, and national sports show. Joe Pavelski and Corey Perry go to the Dallas Stars. Some veteran additions to a Dallas team who lost a veteran in Jason Spezza. They also added Andrej Sekera from the Edmonton Oilers. So Dallas was pretty busy yesterday. But bringing in Joe Pavelski for $7 million per season for 3 years, and Corey Perry 1 year, 1.5. You got to say that's a pretty good gamble for them. Other quick signings: Matt Zuccarello, as I mentioned, goes to Minnesota Wild for 5 years, $6 million per. You have Wayne Simmons to the Devils for 1 year, $5 million. Robin Lehner and Semyon Varlamov going for $5 million a year. Lehner for 1 with the Hawks, 4 years for Varlamov to the Islanders, and Gustav Nyquist goes to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Just to mention a couple there. You have these movements, all these movements that happened, the 84 that we mentioned. You got to admit that the Dallas Stars were pretty smart adding these veteran presence, I think, to a team that does have some young talent coming up.
And I don't hate the Joe Pavelski deal. I feel like it might run 1 year too long. But for what
like Marleau.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said about the Marleau deal. I feel like it might run just 1 year too long and it'll come in to bite them then. But from what Pavelski did last year, $7 million for what he's going to do this year is a great signing.
See, Wayne Simmons getting 1 year for $5 million. I don't think a lot of teams are really pitching $5 million to Wayne Simmons. Now, I know some fans might disagree with that, but you got to think that he did have an off year last year. You know, he's bound to come back, and his presence in front of on the power play, former Greyhound, by the way, he's going to be a big presence on that blue line. And guess who you have shooting the puck at him now? PK Subban.
You've got a lot of excitement going on in New Jersey,
Yes.
and I think New Jersey is going to have a season where it's a lot of fun. Sure, there's some expectations because you drafted first overall. You've got Taylor Hall and PK Subban. But there's a lot of growth that still needs to happen. Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, these guys that still need to pan out a little bit. So rightful excitement, but let's take it with a grain of salt too. Let's see how the first few months play out for the Devils.
And myself, yourself, and Justin will get to a full dissection this week from another Superior edition with some more NHL free agency signings. But there's one thing I wanted to bring up. Sebastian Aho gets submitted an offer sheet from the Montreal Canadiens. He accepts it. Now Carolina today matched it as expected. You know, they had Sebastian Aho with the Twitter feed saying, "Will we match it? Yes or we?" Little slide there to Montreal. Offer sheets are happening. Bergevin's being aggressive.
There's a lot of talk before about offer sheets, and I was kind of skeptical to see if we'd ever see one. They are pretty rare and few and far between. We did see one. It did get matched though. Have fun, Carolina. You got a great player, but you got some cap things to worry about now.
Cap things and a player that maybe truly doesn't want to be there, but you know they weren't letting him go for just a first, second, and a third. He's worth more. Maybe they will trade him. Doubt it, but they want to keep Sebastian there, I think, Carolina. Now transitioning to some of the trades, in particular with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Okay, now if you're a Leaf fan, I think you should actually be pretty excited with yesterday. And some of their moves, Kenny Agostino, Nick Shore, Jason Spezza, Nikita Zaitsev getting moved, and Connor Brown. You have Cody Ceci going the other way. The big trade, obviously, Nazem Kadri going to the Colorado Avalanche. Cale Rosen, third-round pick to Colorado for Alex Kerfoot, Tyson Barrie, and a sixth. And 50% of the salary for Tyson Barrie is retained. Barrie had 59 points this year. Kadri had 44 as a third-line center. Dubas pulled off some magic there with that trade, and just his day yesterday, he obviously did not enjoy a Canada Day with his feet up. He was working the phones.
And which he should have been. A lot of people were getting on Dubas for saying, hey, you got to make moves. You got to make some moves. The defensemen are dropping off the board.
Yeah.
If you would have told me that coming into this season, we'd be paying both Jake Muzzin and Tyson Barrie less than $7 million, I would have called you a liar. To get Barrie at 2.5 for this upcoming season, regardless if he stays or if he goes, that is a problem for tomorrow. Yeah. Let's focus on what we have now. We're paying 2.5 for Barrie. That is amazing.
Now you have opened up with LTIR included with Nathan Horton. You've opened up that $18 million in space. Now you can sign Marner, fingers crossed for Leaf fans. Tyson Barrie, you can potentially re-sign there too. And now Kerfoot's going to eat up a little bit of that contract. You're going to expect a qualifying offer, maybe $3.5 to $4 million for the season for Kerfoot, given because he had over 40 points this year. Good, serviceable fourth-line center.
Yeah, he's had 2 40-point seasons, and that kind of took some people by surprise, saying that he kind of maybe overperformed. But I think if he can put up 40 points in back-to-back seasons, playing on bottom 6 minutes in Colorado, what can he do playing bottom 6 minutes in Toronto when you've got guys like Andreas Janssen and Kapanen and great wingers that are going to be up and down those lines all the time.
And don't forget that he did get some maneuvers to get some time with Gabriel Landeskog and those guys too. So that means he's serviceable up and down the lineup, which is key. But Mitch Marner, we're still waiting to see if he is going to be getting signed with the Leafs. It looks like with Panarin and between Mark Stone and all that, you might be looking at about $10.5, $11 million for Mitch Marner. Now, another trade happened. Sioux native Colin Miller got traded to the Buffalo Sabres for a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick, as we posted on the Game Sports Show Facebook page. And Colin Miller moves there. As you can see, not surprising because there were a lot of rumors of Colin getting traded. Location might be a surprise, as we did hear that Toronto is in that mix and other teams. But him going to Buffalo, he has 99 points in 250 games, 1 point away from 100 is Colin Miller. And you know what? He had a big part of that first year in Vegas. He's going to fit in really well there, I believe, in Buffalo. Ristolainen, Dahlin, they have some good blue line additions there now. And Colin's going to fit in nicely, I believe, definitely in the top 4 for D in Buffalo.
Oh, easily top 4. I mean, this is a guy that can easily put up 40 points without really breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
So even if he puts up 30, 35 to lower 40s, that's about what you want. And I thought more teams would be in on Miller, a guy that wasn't really utilized in this last season in Vegas, somebody that rode the pine a little bit more than I thought he should have. But regardless of wherever, the heads were at with management there, I think he's going to find a good fit, some good playing time, and a little bit closer to home.
Definitely, he's going to be used a lot, I feel, on the power play, especially with the usage in Buffalo. I think that's one area that Buffalo wanted to improve on. And people may forget that he's a very good serviceable PK guy as well. He will block shots. He will finish his checks. He's got that Sault Ste. Marie feistiness inside him.
I like
that's
that.
for
I like
sure.
that.
And Colin is going to go to another area where he's going to have the opportunity to bring back what he did his first year in Las Vegas. And Vegas right now also, there's a team that's looking to move some cap that they did because they just re-signed Stone. They have a lot of top heavy salary cap implications there in Vegas.
And that was them kind of getting maybe a little trigger happy when they did have all this cap space. And they're like, you know what, let's make this trade and sign this guy because we have the space. Now it's starting to catch up to them. Not saying their roster doesn't reflect that. I think their roster is still fantastic. As long as they can keep Fleury in that between those pipes, I think they'll be okay.
Now, a couple quick notable things. You have teams now making trades between Ottawa and Toronto. You have Mike Smith going to Edmonton now, Cam Talbot going over to Calgary. You're seeing a lot of these players now that are going to rival teams, especially in trades. It seems like everything's out the door from what it used to be with we're not trading to these players or to these certain teams in our division. But hey, it's a business.
It's more of a business than it ever has been before as well. Teams are looking to get better. And you know what? If this instills a new rivalry in some of these teams, I'm all for it.
Definitely. Now, a lot of teams made a lot of improvements. Viewers, who do you think made the biggest improvements? I'm going to go out and say New Jersey and even potentially the Florida Panthers. Alex?
Yeah, I would definitely have to second you on the first team there. I think a couple teams made a few boneheaded decisions. I don't know why the Wild think they can keep signing these middle-aged guys, middle-aged hockey career guys, and thinking that they can keep trying to make a contender out of that. Those are my thoughts that I wanted to conclude on.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to talk some NBA discussion now for part 3 of today's show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Dave McKeag, Alex Parr inside ONNtv studios and Sioux Online for the Twin Sault's only local regional national sports show, the Game Sports Show. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Game Sports Show. Also follow Sioux Online and ONNtv. Alex, we've talked about the NHL free agency. We'll jump into more of that when we have our Northern Superior edition this week, which is Sunday. To remind listeners outside of Pier 55. So we have NBA free agency discussion though. And we're going to talk about as much as we can here, and then also we'll talk about tomorrow from Sports Center from our Wednesday show. But a lot of signings went down. A lot of money was dished out in NBA free agency, okay? But the one name that still stands is Kawhi Leonard, but we're going to go with that in a few moments. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, DeAndre Jordan go to the Brooklyn Nets, okay? Now, sure, people predicted Kyrie to go there. Nobody predicted KD to go there, nor did anyone predict DeAndre Jordan to go there. KD signs there for 4-year $164, Kyrie 4-year $141, and they took $10 million less each just so they can sign DeAndre Jordan.
And that's great to see too, where players can go, you know what, I'm making X amount of dollars, I want to win, and I value that a little bit more than the money that I'm making. And that's always great to see too, especially you got to be excited for that fan base too.
Oh, the Mets craving for a good team for years.
And unfortunately, they won't be able to see all 3 of these stars right off the hop, as Kevin Durant is expected to miss that whole first season that he's on that contract for. But that is going to be a 3-headed monster. It
is.
Come ahead in 2 seasons' time.
Now, fun fact, Kevin Durant has turned down $90 million between his contract with OKC leaving for a max deal for Golden State and then vice versa now to the Nets. Obviously, money doesn't matter to KD, and I was quite rude towards Kevin Durant when he left to go towards Golden State.
I think we all were.
But him going to Brooklyn, he goes to the East now, and he's going to miss the entire year. But Brooklyn now, like you said, is looking absolutely scary. But Brooklyn had to make a move, though. And, I think maybe they felt bad for taking Kevin Durant from Golden State. So they said, you know what? Why don't we make a trade? And we'll send D'Angelo Russell to the Golden State Warriors, okay? And they did do that. Now, D'Angelo Russell has moved a few times now, okay? But they sent a 2024 protected first-round pick. It's between the 1 and 4, then a 2025 protected one, and a 2026 unprotected one. A lot of unprotected and protected there for draft picks. He was taken second overall by the Lakers in 2015. Now, even in that trade, Golden State sent Iguodala to Memphis. Now we're hearing that Memphis is going to potentially buy out Iguodala, and he's going to go to the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay, so there's moves just going on there. Golden State's losing some of their talent, but D'Angelo Russell, having Curry, having Green, and having Russell is a pretty good three there still in Golden State.
Absolutely, it's fantastic. The only thing is I don't really see where D'Angelo Russell fits in now. You've got the players that play that same position, that I've done it at an all-star championship dynasty level for years before he's come here. I actually preferred the rumors that D'Angelo Russell was going back to the Lakers. I thought that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Maybe the Warriors aren't done and they want to use D'Angelo as a bargaining chip. I don't know, but right now I don't see that fit.
No, and speaking of the Lakers, who's on their bench? Like, you and I may as well go try out for the Los Angeles Lakers to get on that bench pretty soon, okay? Now, I know somebody named Kawhi Leonard hasn't been signed yet, okay? And we're still waiting, okay, for Boardman to see if he's going to get paid or not, okay? And Kawhi Leonard, it's between, the Clippers are still in there, the Lakers, you had Kendrick Perkins saying it's going to be the Lakers, the Raptors still believe they're the front runners. But I keep refreshing my phone daily, okay, to see if Kawhi is going to go there, but he remains unsigned. Other signings, Kemba Walker goes to the Boston Celtics, 4 years, $141. Klay Thompson re-ups with the Golden State Warriors. Porzingis re-ups with the Mavericks. Jimmy Butler goes to the Heat, which was really unexpected too.
Yeah,
I don't know why he goes there. Now, that kind of is good news for Raptors fans because he didn't go to the Clippers, and that's where they were talking. Now you kind of have, I think it's a two-legged race between the Lakers and Raptors for Kawhi. You had Middleton re-signed with the Bucks. A lot of big moves, a lot of money was happening in the NBA, but the big one that still stands out is Kawhi not being re-signed. Are you refreshing your phone, Alex?
I'm kind of doing it, not as often as maybe you had said that you were, just because there's only one man that knows what he's doing. And that's Kawhi Leonard. Everything else is pure speculation. I've heard everything from the Lakers are going to sign him today to the Raptors are going to sign him tomorrow. Yep. It just keeps going. They need a narrative. That's the last big guy that they hasn't been signed yet. So here we are sitting and talking about him. But like you said, Butler not going to the Clippers, that's what made me excited. It made me think that, maybe there's still a chance that Kawhi's going to sign. They did talk ahead of time that maybe they wanted to team up together. But that's off the board now. I don't see Kawhi going to Miami.
No.
I think, like we say, those three teams that are still finally in the mix are the only teams that will be. Fingers crossed, though, that he stays in Toronto.
Why go to LA? You're going to be the third guy there. Even though I think he's, it's just two different players, but in terms of drama and in terms of who's watched more, he's the third guy. Be the face of a nation. Stay inside Toronto. You've changed this country. You have the same team going back. Wouldn't it be better to beat LeBron and Anthony Davis in the finals next year and with a good team that you're already familiar with? And don't turn down that $40 million extra. You can tell your wife and your family you can go live in LA in the off season and travel there in between games. I don't care. We'll figure out your load management. We'll give you a couple weeks off a year so you can go back home. I don't really care what it is. Toronto fans want you back. Kawhi, you got to come back to Canada.
Yeah, and I don't think Kawhi is a guy that really wants to be not the face of a team. He knows he can go and take hold and change the game night in and night out. That's exactly what he did for the Raptors, and I don't think he wants to take a back seat to anybody.
Feel bad for the Knicks fans, though. You Knicks fans, I hate to strike out and missing every year to get big name tickets. Hey, but you got RJ there. You got RJ there. And having RJ there is actually a good start. And he's a Canadian boy. So New York, treat those Canadian guys with some respect there. Now, the Pelicans bringing in J.J. Redick. The reason why I want to bring in J.J. Redick is because he's actually my favorite basketball player, believe it or not. Sorry, Kawhi Leonard. Sorry, Vince Carter. It was always J.J. Redick, which made me like Duke. So seems like Duke is going over to the Pelicans. Basically, you can call them Pelican Blue Devils pretty soon.
Pelican Blue Devils.
It seems like it's going to be that way. Now, NBA free agency in its entirety is still not done because of Kawhi, but we're going to talk about more tomorrow from Sports Center Bar and Grill, and it's going to be definitely exciting in the coming days to see where Kawhi Leonard goes for sure. But my one prediction, Alex, Vince Carter will go back to the Toronto Raptors to finish his career.
I hope so. I think that would be kind of a cute way to end the career. Does he really have a spot? he could come off the bench. I think he was still putting up double digits coming off the bench. Nothing wrong with that. So you know what, Vince Carter? If you want to come for a last run with the Raptors, you know what? Doors open for you in my books.
If you want a ring, you'd come back. How's that? But now I'll mention quickly before we sign off for tonight's show. Got to get into some quick in the pocket notes. Steelers won 38-0 to improve to 3-3 on the year, defeating Oakville Longhorns. Some big games there for the big win. For the Steelers. Their next game will be July 6th against Sarnia. That is huge. 7 o'clock at Rocky DiPietro. SaberCats dropped their first decision, losing 27-10 to the Waterloo Region Predators. Tough loss for the SaberCats. Their next game is July 6th in Brampton on the road. The JV SaberCats were off last week. They returned to action against Hamilton on the road this week as well. And we'll get into that more tomorrow from Sports Center. You've listened to the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, to all to have a good night. Booyah.